Hey everybody, welcome back to the Sonic Chronicle. My name is Owen and today I'm back with a new episode in the Casually in Conversation series. This chat is very, very special. I'm speaking to the inimitable Emma Langford. She is something of a national treasure, I think, and maybe there's a bit of hyperbole there, but I think it's if not already the truth, will certainly be the truth in the future. She's renowned for her vocal strength, her beautiful singing voice, her impeccable songwriting, the storytelling that comes within that songwriting. She has been featured on national television, national radio, has been nominated for Grammys, or made the shortlist for Grammys at the very least. She has won multiple awards for her music and has such a breadth of experience when it comes to working in the music industry. And I think that this one is going to be very, very useful for people who are trying to do so independently, who don't want to necessarily sign to a label, or at least haven't signed to a big label yet and haven't got the attention just yet. So I do think that there's an awful lot of value within this conversation with Emma. With that all said and done, before we do get into the conversation, if you like what I do generally, please do consider hitting that like button. Please do consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. And of course, leave comments in the comment section. I love to see the comments. And if you have questions that you might want to ask me, or you might want to ask Emma, perhaps, feel free to leave them in the comment section below, and maybe I'll let Emma know as well. But with that said and done, please do enjoy the conversation. Well, look, Emma, thank you very much for taking some time out of your afternoon to come and chat with me about you and your experience in the music industry. And I suppose 10 years and still at the feckin' music. Isn't she very brave all the same in this economy, etc.?
Isn't she very brave all the same, in fairness now?
Absolutely. That meme, the meme that keeps on giving, effectively, to... And I suppose the shared lived experience of musicians, like around not just the country but around the world, I suppose,
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
But yeah,
it's kind of mad when I put that meme out. I was absolutely just, as much as anything I ever put on the internet, I'm just kind of shit posting most of the time and having the crack and just, trying to milk a bit of joy out of the mundane, and out of the bizarre thing, like mentality and perspective people have on the music industry, and like the way people talk to us and kind of infantilize us, all this kind of nonsense. Didn't expect it to take off the way it did back then, which was what, 2019, I think I put it out, something like that, maybe.
I think it was around that time, yeah.
Thereabouts, yeah. And to be fair, I didn't know if I'd still be at the out of feckin' music 10 years on from starting. So yeah, it's nice to be able to say it and to mean it, and to take the piss out of, the
naysayers.
The naysayers.
Yeah. And look, that's something that I'd like to talk to you a little bit about at some point over this conversation. But before we get into that kind of stuff, I think it's worth calling out a load of stuff that has been, I think, really cool about the last 10 years for you. 3 albums technically, right? You've got,
yeah.
The self-titled albums from 2016. Right?
Yeah.
Self-titled songs then appearing on your following albums. Quiet Giant in 2017, Sowing Acorns in 2020. Winner Best Emerging Artist at RTÉ Radio 1 Folk Awards 2017, nominated for Best Folk Singer in 2020, and longlisted for 2 different Grammys for Album of the Year and Song of the Year in 2021. You run the Limerick Lady Podcast again for the last 10 years, and you just had a lovely celebration of it, I believe.
We did indeed.
You're part of the Irish Women in Harmony group. You've toured Ireland, America, and Germany extensively. Currently on tour again, which we already called out the title of. And you've achieved all of that and more. I'm sure I've left out a bunch of stuff, but pretty much entirely independently as well.
Yeah, which I'm pretty, to be honest, that's kind of like my biggest point of pride with any of it is, and I like, that isn't to say that there's anything wrong with someone having, my computer just told me your internet connection is unstable, and I'm like, yeah, me too, bitch. You're not special.
Lights broken, but I still work. Yeah.
I like, there's nothing wrong with having label backing. I think it's actually really impressive in Ireland to have label backing and management that actually works for you as an artist. But I am very proud of myself in having done what I've done, gone where I've gone, worked with who I've worked with, without any of that kind of backing or support. And I was once upon a time offered the golden ticket to the kind of magical support that would have probably gotten me further faster, but would have been a kind of a crisis of confidence and conscience, and wouldn't have served me ultimately. Would have probably driven me bananas, frankly, down the line if I'd wound up stuck in the machine a bit more.
Yeah. Because
So
I was about to ask, has that ever happened? Has anyone ever come and knocked at your door? And I think it's nice to kind of, have that and to be like, oh, I'm doing something right as well. Right.
That's true.
I've done a lot of the legwork myself, and it's great to be considered for this.
Mm.
But I'm okay. I can still do it, right?
Yeah, it was a nice little confidence boost to know that there was interest in me. It pointed to the fact that there was something there. Now, in fairness, I never know how to harness the something there side of things. I'm always like, oh, cool. So you like what I'm doing? Nice one.
Yeah.
And then proceed to dress up in a shark costume and dance around a room to my songs as PR. It works.
It does work.
It's I have no doubt that there are people who are a little bit higher up and they're looking at that going, Jesus Christ, what's she like?
Till your eyes find me, I'm strong as my bones. Till then here I stand, I am strong as my bones. Till your eyes find me, I'm strong as my bones. Till then, only then, I am strong as my bones. Then, only then, I am all self-doubt. All my will and my won't fly out of my mouth like a little white dove that you've trained so well to sing prettily along to another bird's song. Till your eyes find me, I'm strong as my bones. Till then, only then, I am strong as my bones. Till your eyes find me, I'm strong as my bones. Till then, only then, I am strong as my bones. Meanwhile, I'm tall, I am towering above.
Oh, darkness, my old friend, I've come to talk with you again. Because a vision softly creeping left its seeds while I was sleeping, and the vision that was planted in my brain still remains within the sound of silence.
So this is really exciting. But
do you think there's people also high up looking at that going like, how do I get Katy Perry to actually wear the left shark outfit herself? And you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, do you know what, Katy Perry, if you're listening, just hit me up and I'll give you a loan of my costume, and you can, no worries, I can sort you out
as well.
Yes, oh, absolutely. Yeah, the choreography is everything. It's mostly acting like one of those wavy, bendy men outside of garages and strip malls in America. That's the primary kind of instruction I would give there. But yeah, Katie, hit me up.
Cool.
Yeah.
Justin Trudeau, Canadian. I don't think I have a very big Canadian following at the moment. But
we're
as soon as I get there, that's going to be.
Yeah.
But I've been a big fan of you for a long time now.
Thank you.
In terms of I suppose not just you, but your work generally. Because I first came across you on Twitter.
I remember, you were Bro Grayson back then.
I was Bro Grayson, and you were E-Star.
I went through a few different manifestations on that hell site.
That's the one that you were on at that point in time, anyway. But that's kind of how I came across you. And I think at one point you were playing. Well, I think this is the first time that I ever saw you. You were playing the Roisin. You were supporting some band, and you were hard on the Limerick for Capital of Culture 2020.
Yeah, I had
karaoke
I had Limerick 2014 or something on my
on your guitar.
guitar that I had
Yeah,
to then like use like methylated
scrape
spirits to
through.
peel off when we didn't get
Yeah, yeah.
it.
But that's the first time that I saw you. Now I don't remember the band. I remember you though,
I'm trying to think
right?
now. I was in the Roisin, so was I there with Tracy Bruin and her band
That
or
was a second time. That was a later time.
okay? So this was it downstairs in the Roisin or
It
upstairs?
was. It was downstairs. Yeah, on the
Downstairs.
main
Oh,
stage.
I was opening for Bioga, I would say.
All right. Okay.
Most
All,
likely.
all I remember is that they were quite young, and they had a lot of young people in front of them, at the front of the
Oh,
stage. Yeah, yeah.
was it original Rude Boys or something? Like
Oh,
something weird
I
like
don't
that?
know. I can't remember. It was so long ago.
I like
But
sometimes I forget there's entire chunks of my career that I feel like I was experiencing a fugue state for. Like I just
mm,
don't remember some of the things I kind of said yes to, and the treks up and down the country that I did to go to some of these things was, and I wasn't driving at the time. I was getting buses and trains a lot of the time,
that's right.
and it
Yeah,
was it was a whole that was a whole thing, but it
you
was
were going
fun.
up and down the country, like up in the afternoon, and then back down that same night and stuff like that, weren't you?
A lot of the time, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um, but yes, you. I remember you leaving with your guitar case because I was sitting at a table because it was like a midweek and I
Mm,
ditched work. I was on like a late shift. I was on like 4 to 1 in the morning or something like that. And I was just like, I'm a manager. I'm just going to put in for a half day and I'm going to go to this gig.
nice.
And I did, and I saw you play. And The Bell in the Ruin was the song that I think really clinched me as a fan.
Mm, cool.
That one was, I was just like, that's unbelievable songwriting, but
Thank you.
also unbelievable vocally,
Mm,
right?
cheers. I'll take it.
Yeah, absolutely take that, you know?
There was a bell in a tower. She told on the hour each day and would call on the people to come and to listen. Low on the earth stood a ruin, so old that the sun moved stones, and she saw through his doorways and windows it glistened, and so she looked down and she'd ring like a bell, every syllable rang out to tell him her feeling, and he gazed around so amazed as she fell at each toll, sweet and strong as their love went on pealing.
Also, I suppose just to highlight as well that I was like, before I do any of these, like I always listen to people's back catalogs, right?
Mm.
And go through everything and kind of make sure that, you know, I'm not like misremembering stuff or if I'm bringing some stuff up, it's accurate. And, you know, I was listening to Quiet Giant this morning, and I think it was when I was listening to All You Want. My 3-year-old, I was bringing her to crash, and she goes, "What's Elsa saying?" So she thought that you sounded like Elsa from Frozen. So you're right
Ah,
there with Adina Menzel.
oh my God. I will
Yeah.
absolutely cherish that compliment, especially from a smallie. Like,
Yeah.
because they're so perceptive. Like, if a smallie likes me or likes my voice, I'm like, yes,
Oh,
I
and
have made it.
she cuts me on a daily basis. You know
Of
what I
course, yeah,
mean?
that's the
Like,
thing as well. They can be so
yeah,
cutting when they want to be cutting as well. So it's, yeah,
yeah, absolutely.
class.
So, as I mentioned there as well, you've won a bunch of awards, right?
Mm.
Well, and nominated for folk awards as well, right?
Won
But on
and
your
lost.
Instagram,
I will say I've lost a lot of them too. So, that's pretty impressive.
physically or just not received
I
them?
actually don't know where one of them is. So, yes, technically,
So
physically also.
technically, physically. So you've updated your Instagram to say folk-ish, right?
Mhm.
Is there a reason for that? Like, are you like trying to move away from that, I suppose?
No, not like
Label or bracket?
especially trying to move away from it, but I like to stay quite open to whatever comes to me, you know.
Mhm.
My the way I write has never been like 100% inspired by any one genre, and I don't ever try and stay within one genre.
Mhm.
I definitely tend towards the kind of the folk trad side of things, but that's kind of just incidental. Like I could tomorrow, if I learned the skills to do so, wake up and decide I'm moving into synth pop, and that's where I'm going. That's where I'm directing my attention. I actually would love to do that at some point.
Mm.
So yeah, it's more just like this is the easiest way for you guys to categorize me for now. So folk-ish. I'm also so conscious that there's so many like diehard purist folk people out there for whom I absolutely am not folk, and I respect that and I get it. It's fine. But yeah, it's just kind of keep it open for me, I suppose, to not be squared away into one category at all times, because I do think I tend to dabble all over the place, you know, and my inspirations range from, I've got stuff coming out in my next album that is like closer to Katie Malua / Nora Jones vibes. There's very, very strong Trident folk energy to the next album, but yeah, there's a song or two on there that's, you know, there's Boys Will Be Boys, and then I've got this new one called Refuge, which is very jazzy, bluesy kind of vibe. But yeah, so it's just kind of for my own benefit, and to also alert people to the fact that I may be prone to throwing an old curveball into the mix now and then.
I think that's great though, right? Because like you have lads that are out there at the moment, right? You've got like a Kingfisher and you've got Amble, right? And they will forever have to do that style of music, right? That is just how it is. They've had one massive song that's in this style, and now they have to do that forever, right?
Yeah.
If they ever deviate from that, I don't think they will be allowed to because of their label, etc. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
Again, coming back to that independence piece, right? But because you have that freedom, you can kind of do whatever you want, right? And because you've never, I suppose, stayed within that bracket as well, right? People know that already, right? Or should know that already.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, no, it is very freeing. And I, like, yeah, you do see bands that kind of, you know, do the Bob Dylan thing of suddenly going electric, and it freaks people out because people don't know what you are anymore. They trusted you. They thought they knew what they were dealing with, and now you're this thing. What? How am I meant to trust what you're a not reliable narrator now? Like what the hell? It's just mad.
People are people though, right? You have moods and things take you, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, the same with myself. Like I started out doing acoustic stuff, right? Like I was doing, you know, singer-songwriter stuff, right? And then I was like, am I folkish? Am I not folkish? Is this how I present myself? Or should I just be like, do I do the Ed Sheeran one guy in a guitar on a stage, like filling out a stadium thing, right? Which I would never be able to do, right? But it is, do I get myself a looper? Do I get myself a loop pedal and I lean into that, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, right? And then I kind of stopped gigging for a long time and I just started writing stuff, right? That wasn't suited for singer-songwriter stuff. And I've like put out recently, I put out a new track called Face the Music, and it's massively inspired by like System of a Down and you know, Rage Against the Machine, and it's very metal, very heavy. And I was able to do that because I moved away from that stuff, right?
Yes.
But I also have another song that is singer-songwritery called Firewalking, which is inspired by, you know,
Twin Peaks.
If you saw
Twin Peaks.
No, not quite. It was inspired by that little clip of the little girl walking through the flaming building in Palestine. Right?
Oh yes, yeah.
So that's what that's been inspired by. So
right.
I do still have those different vibes, right, for different things. And look, last year, like I was unemployed last year for a little while, and I released an EP called Pub Goes Punk, where I took songs from the pub that I would have heard from when I was growing up, and then put the punk twist on them, and I released it.
Nice. Fun.
It was fun. Yeah, exactly. It was fun. So, you know, I do think that people take these flights of fancy, and you can't really, you know, pigeonhole people into one genre, especially when people are so complex and they have all these different feelings and these different things that at any given point in time they can release something that leans into those feelings as well.
Yeah. And I suppose you have to kind of like what speaks to you at a given time as an artist is sort of the most important thing. And if you're releasing something that spoke to you when you were writing it, and that you're releasing it and you're proud that it represents some part of you or your part of your life, then that's kind of all that matters, really.
Yeah. And I was going to bring this up later, but I suppose that kind of brings into, I suppose, into focus. Boys Will Be Boys. Fuck that. Right. Obviously a song that came together and was recorded very, very quickly at Wonderland, right? Yeah. In the wake of Cathal Crotty's horrific attack on Natasha O'Brien, right? Very angry song, right?
Yes.
Very good punk stuff, right? In my opinion, right?
I've been biting my tongue, I've been choosing my words, kind of living in fear in case a man feels hurt. But I'm watching the news while I'm watching my mouth. Watch another judge let another thug walk out. Well, fuck that, fuck boys will be boys. Fuck your girls should be seen and never heard and make noise. Oh, fuck that, fuck boys will be boys. Fuck your girls should be seen and never heard and make noise. Have to sit on my hands buttons, but they're itching to swing for a cretin you call courteous and disciplined. Have to temper my tone, but I'm dying to shout. You gave her two to put her down and two to put her out. No! Fuck that, fuck boys will be boys. Fuck your girls should be seen and never heard making noise. Oh, fuck that, fuck boys will be boys. Fuck your girls should be seen and never heard making noise.
Much cleaner, right? I suppose from a
Yeah,
punk
yeah, yeah.
perspective, but
Yeah.
doesn't matter, right? Punk isn't the style; it's a vibe, right?
Sure.
Is there going to be more of that kind of thing in the future? Do you think, given the tumultuous times that we live in?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I do have a lot of angry feelings. Yeah, there's a lot of that kind of, but I don't think I have anything quite. So yeah, trying to do the punk thing when I'm not within the genre, it was the best way for me to express how I felt at the time about that. I couldn't really have imagined it being recorded or produced any other way at the time. I do think I'll probably revisit that song and maybe re-record it for the next album with instruments that I'm more likely to have on stage with me on a regular basis. So it'll have a similar energy to it, but it'll be, I don't know, maybe a bit closer to my own roots.
Right.
But yeah, there's a bunch more work ready to kind of put out. I mean, Hunting the Hare is probably like the equivalent in my own genre of Boys Will Be Boys. Like, yeah. I've got another piece as well about the mother and baby homes that's kind of along the same lines. So there's, yeah, I've got some more stuff to say. And I think I'm going to continue being sweary about it. But yeah, I'm not sure if I'll do another Boys Will Be Boys as such. It's hard to know, really. Like, the song kind of was written in such a flash of anger. I didn't expect that to come out of me the way it did. So who knows, you know?
Yeah. And
I love the idea of experimenting with that kind of side of things a bit more, because I do think anger is a very powerful thing to express through music. And
agreed.
Yeah.
Like, I spoke to Nolene Keane on this show before as well about music, and she was like, I don't go to therapy, I write music. Music is the work, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's an awful lot to be said for that generally.
Absolutely, there is. Yeah, I that's an interesting one as well, though, because I read an incredible book a few years ago called Inside the Music, and there's a piece in that book from, can't remember, was it Michael Stipe or Mark Ronson? I can't remember who it was, but they basically said, you know, going to therapy doesn't make you less of an artist. It just clarifies things. It's there is this sort of notion of the tortured artist that more often than not has caused us as an industry and us as a society to lose people, because you know, there is this idea that, you know, you'll process things through your art, and that should be enough. It's not always enough, you know. Therapy and counseling and all of that stuff is vitally important too, and it's really, really good actually. For me, it's been really helpful once I found the right kind of therapist here and there. I haven't been with anyone consistently, but when I did eventually go to therapy, it was what guided me toward an autism diagnosis. It's what guided me toward finding the mechanisms I needed to continue working in this industry, because for a long time I didn't think I could survive this industry because of my sensory needs, because of my emotional needs, my interpersonal needs, all that kind of stuff. I just thought there was no space for me. And finding the right tools and mechanisms to, you know, kind of stocking up that tool belt for myself has meant that I can continue writing and not allow the darkness to win, which is, God, it's so common.
It is. But it's a daily fight, right? Every day that, you know, you kind of get up and you kind of like reassess things and you kind of go, okay, well, what am I like today? Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, is this going to be a good day or is this not going to be a good day, right?
Yeah.
If it's not going to be a good day, what do I need to do to compensate? Right?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. I think creativity is a beautiful thing for us to have access to for that. You know, it's fabulously cathartic. But it only really works if we've learned how to channel that the right way, because otherwise, I mean, you know, we see so many artists creating horribly self-indulgent stuff because they haven't done the kind of the other work to make sure that the work they're producing and creating is stuff they can stand over, and that they, because it's as much about expressing yourself as it is with about connecting with people.
Yeah.
So finding a way of doing that in the most meaningful way for you. I just think, you know, getting the right help alongside creativity as outlet is vitally important.
Mm-hmm. And I suppose, speaking of those different things, right? Those different ideas of, you know, counseling and, you know, getting the autism diagnosis and understanding more about yourself, right? And how you're best equipped to be able to do things and to function. Like, as you mentioned that you might not have existed within this industry for, like, had you not had those tools, right? And is that what helped you, I suppose? You know, obviously 2020 releasing Sowing Acorns was quite a long time ago now, right?
Yeah.
And you were quite quiet, I suppose, in a lot of ways when it came to your work. Were those the tools that helped you kind of get to that point of, you know, and again, you've talked about releasing a new album, you know, quite soon. Are those the tools that helped you get to that point to go, like, actually, I'm going to get back on this. I'm going to continue to do my work that I'm here to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I experienced pretty bad burnout there for quite a while. The thing with burnout when you're experiencing is you don't necessarily know you're experiencing it. So it manifests, you know, people call it a burnout, but it manifests as exhaustion and weariness and wariness, apathy. Things just don't, it's burnout is essentially a kind of a depressive state, you know. And so, yeah, I found myself just taking a big step back and kind of questioning what I was contributing and how much any of it was contributing to me. You hit a point sometimes where I certainly hit a point where I was questioning how much joy any of it was bringing me and whether I was doing it just for the sake of it because of just pushing through. And, you know, I said I was doing this and I said this is who I was. So I have to keep going and I have to look at it and go, you know, am I doing this for me or am I doing it for someone else? And yeah, in the past year, I've refound that joy in myself and I've rediscovered what I contribute to the wider discourse. I do think, like, learning I was autistic and being able to stand on a stage and say that out loud to a room that is possibly got, you know, one other person who's questioning whether they should be there and like looking at themselves and going, you know, I don't fit. If I can stand on a stage and say I've gone through it and I'm here to sort of tell the story, then that's kind of important to me.
100%.
I can set a precedent for my bandmates, for my friends, for the people that love me, that, like, you know, I'm setting these clear boundaries. This is my limit. I can only go this far. I need this kind of space. I need to do this, that, and the other. And they can kind of look at that and go, oh, okay, cool. That gives me permission to do something like that. I can also set a boundary and make it clear what I need and ask for help. So yeah, I think all that stuff really, really helped me in getting my mojo back. Like, I want to do this again, you know? Like, I don't feel like a total outsider, and if I do, I'm able to recognize what that actually is. Like, it, you know, having not had a great time in secondary school, the outsider experience is one that definitely comes up again quite a bit in me whenever I'm in, like, a musical industry context where I'm like, oh, I'm not connecting with people the way everyone else seems to be. I haven't received the script everyone else got as to how to approach these social situations, and I'm able to just kind of see that in myself now, and instead of kicking myself over it or beating myself up over it, I'm able to just step back and go, okay, just take a breath, look at what's happening. Is it just sensory overwhelm? What's going on? And then be able to step back into it kind of fresh, and that side of things, I think, is a massive deterrent for a lot of people in the industry. Just literally being able to talk to people and go into those big rooms full of people and breathe and not just walk out because you don't fit. Yeah. So yeah, all of that stuff has really helped. I also was in a weird situation recently where a promoter tried to tell me I didn't know what I was doing and that I needed to trust them more than my own instincts on things. And that's never gone down very well with me.
I mean, it's a very weird thing to say as well.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, it's weird, right? That, like, people will try and convince you that they have all of the cards as well, right?
Yeah.
When realistically, it's like, no, like, read my fact sheet, right?
Yeah.
You know, like, you can't tell me I don't know what I'm doing when I've done all that, right?
Yeah.
So either you want me or you don't,
right? Which is it?
It's a very, I think it's a real exploitative kind of a negging kind of thing
Absolutely.
that, you know,
100%.
people in power stay in power because they convince everyone else that they don't know anything and that they're useless and helpless without them. It's this kind of learned helplessness that's enforced on you as an artist a lot of the time. And I think it's a really lovely thing to realize that we do have so much power within ourselves once we kind of own our own space and acknowledge what we can do and what we do know, you know. There is this massive bottleneck in the industry that's caused by one or two individuals who run the show. But by and large, we have an awful lot of autonomy and power, and we can reshape our own kind of realities as artists if we just don't let those people gatekeep the entire industry forever and ever.
Yeah, I mean, that can be applied to many spaces in life. Right? Like even like me, I don't work in music necessarily, right? Like I engage with it, and I haven't gigged in a long time, but I'm not really in a position to do so. I write like a lot of band stuff at the moment. I'd need to put a band together and so on and so forth, right? But even in industries that I've worked in, over the course of the last 10, 15 years, like all the stuff that you're saying there about like burnout, I burnt out from one of my roles because I was trying to be inauthentic, right? I was trying to be a version of myself that people wanted to see in order for me to kind of like get ahead and to promote myself and so on, right? It all came to a head, and I was just like, I'm so unhappy, right? I can't do this job, right?
Yeah.
So I took a step back and I moved into a less senior role. But what actually was the case, and I only realized this, a couple of years later, was that I don't want to do it there because of the kind of people that were around me.
Okay.
Right? That I was more than capable of doing the job that I was doing, right? It's just that because of the way that I had to behave, because of the people around me, I wasn't capable of juggling all of those things and spinning all of those plates at the same time, right? And that led me to burn out and to like have like health issues and stuff like that. Like I went blind in an eye for like a week, right?
Wow.
Yeah. Your body keeps a score.
Jeez, yeah.
But once I got over that and I kind of took that less senior role, I was like, okay, Grant, this is where I am now. But let's look at other options, right? And I got out of there and I moved into a more senior role with another company, and I became very well liked there, right, for who I was, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have to hide any of that stuff. And then on the other side of it, like recognizing your group and being able to step up and speak for them. Funny enough, like I was at a wedding quite recently with a bunch of old friends from university, and we were talking about how we'd all found each other, right, as a group of people, right? And it's gas that you went to this school and you went here, and then you all moved in together and you kind of branched out from here, and it's gas. And we kind of had that conversation, and as it kind of petered out, one of my friends kind of like, I was walking in with him, and he goes, that's a funny conversation to have, especially when you look at that room. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, spot the neurotypical. And I was just like, all right. Okay, right. If there's no one in there who's neurotypical, then obviously the whole thing of like people who are neurodiverse tend to find each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Right? Yeah.
So I think that's probably what he was getting at with regards to that situation.
Love it.
But anyway, it is what it is. Like no one cares, right?
Yeah.
We're all just good people at the end of the day, But yeah, that aside, and I probably should have brought this up earlier, right? In terms of yourself and your playing, right? What made you start doing it, right? Has this always been what you wanted to do, right? Despite the challenges that were always there, right? Despite the people saying like, "Are you still at the fucking music?" Right? And you probably would have heard that from people before you had decided to take the leap and to do this.
Yeah, do you know what? Like when I was younger, I thought I was going to be a visual artist. I loved drawing. I was drawing nonstop. That was what I always wanted to do. So I'll come back to that at some point. But I've always found a creative outlet. I've always found a way of expressing myself in whatever way feels right at the time. And music has, for a long time now, been the way. In secondary school, I was a really, really excellent visual artist. Brilliant at portraits and still life and all this kind of stuff. And I tried to get into art college and I didn't. I wasn't given very good guidance on my portfolio. I had no idea what a portfolio was. As an autistic person, I was sitting there going, you know, I didn't understand that there were people that were going to portfolio coaching classes. I didn't understand that there
Oh,
was like a way of doing this. I thought you apply to art college and you show them your drawings that you have so far. I just thought that was what you did. Turns
mhm.
out that isn't what you do at all. There's like a whole thing. So yeah, I think that was a big turning point for me, not getting into art college.
Okay.
Music has always been there for me. Like I was in musical theatre and stuff as a kid, and I was always singing and I was always writing as well. Um, but I kind of came to music as an outlet and it became a job. Um, so yeah, I'd love to say it was like a vocation and like I could never,
Of
as a
course.
kid, it was always what I wanted. And, you know,
Mhm.
I nearly lost my voice as a kid. Like when I was about 12, I nearly lost my voice. And that brought things into focus in a big way as to like I had to go, I just relearn how to sing, relearn how to breathe, relearn how to speak at the age of
Wow.
like 11, 12. And coming into secondary school, you know, I love being in the choir. I'd have loved to be in like the school musical, that all that kind of stuff, but I just couldn't. I didn't trust my voice to. I had to mime in the choir for ages and stuff, and
Wow.
yeah. So I have a complicated relationship with my voice as a response to that. I'm now you know I cherish it and it's massively important to me and I really protect it as much as I can. But yeah, I developed a very complicated relationship with my voice around then, and so yeah, I certainly didn't as a kid go, it's gotta be music. Nothing else will do. I didn't study music in school, studied art, I studied German. I
Mm.
wanted to be I wanted to be a festival organizer at one point, an event
Mhm.
planner. I wanted to work backstage doing lights. I thought I was going to be a light engineer. I just think there was always going to be something creative. I grew up in a house full of visual art, and my parents are both visual artists, and my
Oh, great.
uncle was an incredible visual artist as well in Cork. And so yeah, that's been my world for my entire life. Music was always in the background, as in like it was never not music, but it
Yeah,
wasn't my path. And then it
sure.
became my path. And for me, I think that's actually a very freeing thing, in that if I lost my voice tomorrow, I think I would find another creative direction. I think I write so much. I love writing. Like prose and poetry were my first kind of writing, and then that evolved into music. Um, so yeah, it's a kind of a weird wavy bendy journey that has brought me to where I am. And that's actually part of why it's like I'm looking at like being here 10 years now in a professional capacity and I'm like, haha, fooled them again. Still here 10 years on and they
Just
think
gonna
I'm a
rip off a
musician.
mask and be like,
Idiots.
"Oh, you were a visual artist all along."
Yeah. Yeah, I think I for a long time I wanted to put, and that's, you know, I wanted to put myself down as just like a maker of things, a
Gotcha.
creative person, an artist. Music happens to be the thing at the moment. But yeah, it's I don't know, man. I think people really want that narrative of
Of
like, oh, she was
course.
always gonna be a musician. She wanted to be on the big stage from
Yeah, yeah.
when she was a
Oh,
baby.
she
And like to
made
be
it.
fair, I was a
Yeah.
born performer. Like there are pictures and videos of me as like a kid, a smallie, dressed up in costumes. Myself and my sister would learn off duets from Les Mis and from,
Mm,
you know, we always be performing, but visual art was something I was always really drawn to. Something that allowed me to be very solitary for large tracts of time was really appealing to me.
nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. And then you studied music in UL, didn't you?
I did. I did the BA in voice and dance in UL.
Mm.
I deferred for a year before doing it. I went off and I was a street fundraiser. So I traveled around the country for a year, on the streets, stopping people, asking them to give the price of a cup of coffee a week
Yep.
to various causes. And I was really, really good at that. And I did really, really well. And then I developed a very thick skin through that job. I had just come out of school and I was standing on the street in Galway, in Laois, in
Mm.
Dublin, all over the country, having people comment on my appearance and how I was dressed, on the fact that I was trying to use my feminine wiles to get them to
Oh,
sign up for charity and all this kind of stuff. And that was interesting. That was very interesting.
so a
So
lot of
I
sides people, I imagine.
Yeah, a lot of sides of people who I know to be fundamentally good people as well. Like
Right.
I encountered people on the street who are like some of them quite famous and interesting to see them brush past you, give
Mm.
you the kind of the you know the like our people were called chuggers, charity muggers,
Oh.
and we were treated as such. But yeah, it was interesting. So that taught me an awful lot about humanity and about dealing with the public, and as a result, going into music and playing on stages around the country and often being ignored in the early days didn't hurt so bad.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And so then, when you went on, you studied music,
Mm.
uh, the Bachelor of Arts in Music and Voice. Because I know there's a bunch of them in UL. Like a friend of mine, she did Irish music and dance.
Yeah.
But when it came to that one, I suppose, was it there where you kind of like developed, I suppose, what your sound is going to be like in terms of like, was folk, I suppose, the sound that suited the stuff that you were writing? You know what I mean? Or did you actively try to write folk, right? Or
None of the above. No, I mean during that degree, to be honest, nothing we were learning at the time sounded anything like what I sound like now.
hmm.
We were doing it was a very interesting course back then. That was like the second year of the course's existence, and it was bizarrely geared toward like Latin American music.
Oh,
And yeah,
well, UL
and
does weird stuff like that though with courses.
yeah, the course has changed quite a bit now. It's a bit more broad. But back then, yeah, it was a very Latin American slant to the course and sort of classical training. So we did a lot of like choral skills,
Hmm.
Gregorian chant.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, it was cool.
Hmm.
As a 19-year-old who wanted to just learn to make music, it was a challenge. Very, very contemporary focused in terms of dance as well. So that was kind of odd. Um, but yeah, it was I learned a lot through the people I met on that course and the tutors I had and being in that building. And I started working in the college bar while I was there, and I became the musical booker for the bar
Oh,
and
nice.
met a lot of musicians and learned how to set up a PA system and EQ a gig through that and how to pull pints
Yeah, yeah.
and, you know, all the important stuff that you need to survive in Ireland.
So,
Yeah,
sorry, I'm just trying to think about the timeline. Like, you would have been in UL from 2006 to 2010-ish?
2009 to 2013.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, oh, yeah, yeah, that makes more sense. Because
Yeah,
I
so
graduated
2000,
in
yeah.
2008, so you would have been starting the year after me because you deferred
Yeah.
that year. But that means that you were possibly booking if you were in there between 2000, or if you were working at that stage in there between 2009 and 2013. That like, did you work with Great Friday events?
No.
Okay, okay, Kathy Flaherty and I can't remember the gentleman's name. Anyway, might have been too long ago.
It could have also been like this, the UL like events side of things. There's like the Students' Union events, and then there's the Stables Bar, and then there's the
Gotcha.
Scholars Bar. So I was in the Scholars doing like small low-key events,
Ah,
just
yes.
bringing in
Okay.
artists that I loved and wanted to hear playing in the bar.
Gotcha.
Um,
Gotcha.
so yeah, I was often given out to for sneakily changing the music in the bar to the playlist that I had made. That was all Limerick artists.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, they were like, you can't just there's a playlist for the bar that sets a vibe for the bar. I was like, yeah, but
But there's no one in here at the minute,
there's
so
no one in here, and I want everyone to hear the sound of like Foxjaw and all the bands that I love that are from around the area.
Foxjaw Bounty Hunters at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now Captain Neptune Blood.
Is it Captain Neptune?
I
Oh, it's
think
just
so.
Neptune Blood.
It might be just
I
Neptune
think it's
Blood
just
now, yeah.
they might
But
have had to drop the
it's named
captain.
after a soldier or a sailor that was buried in a graveyard in Limerick.
Oh, did not know that. It's a cool name though. Yeah, that's a weird one. Sorry, this is very Limerick centric, I suppose. But from the perspective of like the lads finished up and now they're just the lads again, but with a new member, a saxophonist, is it? Or
Is that Kieran Culhan? Yeah,
might be Kieran Culhan, yeah.
yeah. He's gas. He's a heavy metal like musician and then just randomly plays sax.
What band was he in?
We come in pieces.
We Come in Pieces. That's
Yeah.
the one. Yeah.
We keep.
Um, this kind of brings me on a little bit as to what I want to talk to you about next, though, in terms of the music scene in Limerick, right?
Mm.
And at the time that you started to perform, right, what was it like, right? Because I have a very specific view of what this scene was like when I played, right? So I
Okay.
played quite a bit, a lot in Baker Place and Riddlers and stuff like that, right? I was in an 80s covers band, and I was in a heavy metal band called Full Shred, around 2008 to 2011-ish, right? So I was playing a lot of those. Oh, and I played in Nesters, of all places.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I also played in what is the commercial now. I played in the
Daffy's.
basement there. It was
Yeah.
it was not the was it Fees? Is that what it's called?
So it was the commercial, like it's been the commercial bar since the early the late 1800s, 1900s, but then it became Daffy's very briefly.
Daffy's,
And
that's where I played.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
where you could go for salsa lessons and gigs and a pint and whatever.
So I played in the basement there, and I played
Nice.
to the other acts, and then my friends showed up, and I played.
Oh God.
And
We've all been there.
It was so bad. It was so bad. But and I also played out in Greedy, right, in the Greedy bar as well for a few different bits and pieces, and also in a field. But
In a
all
field?
different a field out in Maru.
Oh wow.
For the Great Friday Festival, the first one.
Okay.
Had,
It wasn't just like a field.
No, they had We Should Be Dead playing.
Who are
headliners.
now TA Narrative.
Who are in a TA Narrative? Yeah, that's right. Yeah, they were such hometown heroes.
Still are.
Still are. Right?
I mean, the girls are. I don't know who the boys are, but the girls are legends.
I can't remember what the names of the boys, but anyway, regardless, hometown heroes. So yes, what was the scene like, right, when you graduated, right, compared to, I suppose, back when it was like Limerick was like the big thing?
Sure. Yeah. That's a really interesting question. I like this is one of those things now where I'm like, oh, the autistic experience was quite something, because I didn't really, like, I knew the musicians who were around town. I knew them, but I felt like a different breed. Like I wasn't one of them, there was these, there was leading armies who were this super group of musicians and singers who they were recording these extraordinarily like elaborate arrangements of songs in like churches and stuff. And I was like, what? This is crazy. There was those guys. And then there was Shiva, who was just kind of coming through at the time. And she was doing a lot of work with a lot of the leading armies guys. So they were kind of collaborating. And there was, when I was coming through, Hermitage Green were kind of really having a moment, kind of in their early days, and then as well.
Yeah.
There was there was a few really interesting acts, but I felt really supported by Limerick, but I didn't really know the scene as such. Like I don't feel like I was part of the scene, which was, I don't know. I guess I don't know if it was self-inflicted or if it was just that, I'm like a weird folksy singer-songwriter, so there wasn't really a gap there for me. But it was, I mean, it never hurt me. No, it was kind of nice actually, because I was showing up to play gigs with artists with backing musicians that nobody had ever seen before. Yeah. And there was a handful of musicians that were popping up all over the place in backing bands who were, for a good reason, they're all extraordinary artists. But I was kind of, despite living in the city and technically being part of the scene, I was coming from a different planet sometimes. So
yeah, the reason I bring it up is because, I talked about this with John Steele as well, that when one of my favorite
Limerick musicians, he's such a legend.
He's an absolute legend. Love him. But when I was performing, and I got into rock bands and metal bands, you had this ready-made community there, right? You got into the band and you were there. You were one of them, right? Yeah. That's how it was, right? And then obviously not the Great Friday, the Siege started, right? Yes, and we were one of the first bands that played at the Siege, right? But we were the first band to get people moshing, and it was amazing, right?
Nice.
But you always knew someone, right? And if someone, you never had to go looking for a gig, right? Someone would give you a call and go like, "Hey, we want to do this Metallica tribute. Do you know enough Metallica to come down and play?"
Sure. Yeah.
Well, actually, we can learn enough by the time that we go down, right? And you'd go down and they'd fill you a bag of beers and you'd leave at the end of the night, right? And that's how it went, right? But I suppose specifically as a folk performer, I feel like it was probably harder. And that's why I wanted to ask the question, because John said that it was much harder for him as an indie kind of alt performer to find that community and to find people to perform with.
Yeah, and for sure it is. I think I kind of went into my career with this sort of wide-eyed cluelessness about it, which really helped me. I didn't have any notion of like there being like an avenue to go through, or the people to talk to, or the band to put around you, or anything like that. I was just like, I have songs, and this is me. Would anyone like to join me on these songs?
Listen to some songs.
Yes, and that was kind of So I don't think I have ever known. I never found out how everyone got together and where it all happened. Was there like a bar everyone was hanging out in, or what? The way I found my community largely was there was the open mic in the Wicked Chicken that I went to, and I collected musicians through that who gradually joined me on stage for some of my early gigs. I wound up with this stupid massive collective of like trad and folk and metal and rock musicians that were all just joining me on different songs, doing different things, and it just evolved into this unwieldy massive thing called Lemon Street, and that was like my first band ever, which sort of trickled down to the handful of people I still have with me today. But yeah, it was an interesting one. They were like, it wasn't that anyone was ever unhospitable, or like I ever felt like there wasn't space for me in Limerick, because obviously I kept going. But as far, because I often get that question in interviews, like, what was, the Limerick community is so, like, the Limerick music scene is so vibrant. How did you find that growing up? Was it very formative for you? And I'm like, I don't know. I wasn't part of it. Like, I was part of it, but like, it wasn't my world. It wasn't my social scene. I feel, so yeah, cool to be a color in the tapestry, but I don't know much about how everyone did what they were doing.
For sure. Like, I feel like every community needs a tall John, to be honest with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean?
But anyway, so is that kind of how you, like, that kind of patchwork of artists, is that how you found Hannah and Alec?
No. So Alec was playing with a band at the time called Sean's Walk. So Sean O'Dollig, who's now in a band called Megatrad, was the lead singer of Sean's Walk. And Alec was his cellist and backing vocalist.
Okay.
And when I was recording my EP, I was strings obsessed. I wanted strings. I wanted the sound of strings on all my songs. So I recorded the EP. It was just myself, double bassist Peter Hannigan, and we had Carol Nesbitt on flute, and the producer Clint Fitzgerald recorded a lot of bits. So that was the first EP, the self-named eponymous crowdfunded EP. And then when I went to release it and perform it on the stage in Dolan's, I wanted to put a bunch of musicians around it to bring it together. So Alec came on board then. I gave him a shout. He'd been to a lot of my solo gigs. I'd been to a lot of their band gigs. We kind of crossed paths a little bit from just being in UL at the same time. So I just thought he was class. I just thought he was so much fun on stage. He was able to do backing vocals. He played interestingly, not just well, but interestingly. Like, he was good crack and everything as well. So I was like, you there, come play my songs. And then Hannah, she was playing with she's from Cork, so she was playing with another band at the time, whose frontman was an old childhood friend of mine.
Right.
So I went to see them, and then they came to see me in Limerick, and myself and Hannah kind of bonded in that time and had a lot of chats. She helped me co-write an Irish version of one of my songs, and that was one of our first ever collaborations. So she helped me to figure out how this would translate properly into Irish. She's a fluent Gaeilgeoir, so we sat down in a hotel in Cork and rewrote All You Want as Mohail Muhuris, the Irish version. And she came to Limerick to record that with me, and then I was like, how would you feel about recording on my album also? So she came on board to record Quiet Giant. It was her first time being asked to kind of improvise, make things up, and scared the shit out of her.
Nice.
And she was with me since then. So 2017 when we recorded the album. Yeah, so she's been with me since then. So we're coming on 10 years working together, all three of us. Yeah.
It's brilliant they have that longevity, working with the same core group,
Absolutely. Yeah.
They must also enjoy working with you then, right?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think we were all kind of growing and evolving together, which is really nice to see. You know, we all three of us have gone through different sort of stuff personally, and we've all kind of hung in there and helped each other out and supported each other. And I've gone through like little brief windows where my band lineup has changed, but the lads have always kind of wound up coming back into the fold ultimately because it just works. It's a lovely dynamic, and we're all kind of, you know, neurospicy weirdos. So it just, you know, when you're touring and you're gigging a lot with people, you need the feeling of safety on stage with them, and they definitely, I think we give each other that, which is lovely.
Yeah, and traveling with them, and effectively living with them for a couple of weeks. You know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm completely allergic to touring these days. Like, as in for any long length of time abroad, internationally, when you're doing all the logistics and the booking, and then you're playing, and then you're getting back into a van together for like 2 weeks at a time, it's like it's a lot. So yeah, I'm pretty allergic to touring, but if I must, they're the people to be doing it with.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
Speaking of touring, and look, I know that we're coming up on time, and I actually have another appointment after this, so I'm very sorry. I don't mean to rush anything here, but you have a new single and a new video coming out soon, Trademark.
That's the plan. Yeah.
You're on tour at the moment. You are, again, just to reiterate the name of the tour, the 10 years on, and she's still at the Feckin' Music. Isn't she very brave all the same in this economy tour?
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned briefly before that you have a new date coming, or a few new dates coming on that tour as well, including one for Galway, I believe.
Yes, indeed.
Any further details on that one at the moment? Or
do you know what? I mean, I feel like I need to give them a nudge to get this out. So yeah, the 14th of August at Monroe's. It'll be a trio gig, and we're very, very excited to get back to Galway because it's been too long. So yeah, I need to get a push on that and get it out there. So absolutely, you get the world exclusive.
Brilliant. I always love an exclusive in these things. Always love it. Fantastic. Yep. August 14th, Monroe's, Galway. Fantastic.
That's the plan. Yep.
Anything else to plug before we wrap up?
Do I have anything else to plug? I mean, like, yeah, I mean, like all the dates really. Like, I'll be in the Whale Theatre on the 3rd of July. I don't know when this episode's going to go out, but I'll be in the Whale Theatre in Wicklow on the 3rd of July. And then the end of July, I'm playing a solo set at an ice cream parlour in Milltown, Malbay.
That sounds brilliant.
The 31st of July at the Frozen Spoon in Milltown, Malbay, I'll be doing a little show and probably going for a swim because I love a sea swim.
Brilliant. That's fantastic. I'll put dates up on screen for the tour as well. And I might just type in the August 14th one in Monroe's. Monroe's, get the finger out, please. Thank you very much. But Emma, thank you very much for your time. Again, I really appreciate it. It's been lovely chatting to you.
Likewise, Owen. Lovely to reconnect.
Absolutely. That's a lovely way to put it. Thank you very much. And look, if you are in Monroe's and Galway on August 14th, I'll do my best to come.
Savage.
And check it out. And look, all the best. And thanks. I'll hopefully speak to you soon. All right.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Mind yourself.
Thanks very much, Emma.
Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye.